Welcome, listener, to the second episode of the Mycelium podcast. Our topic today will be these flowers that bloom over the water and are famous for their beauty and attractions to tourists.
Yes, and we as science and biology lovers are very excited about the information of today's episode. Most importantly of all, today we are hosting with us the wonderful guest, Dr. Al-Yahyai from the College of Agriculture Marine Science at Sultan Qaboos University. How are you today, Doctor?
Alhamdulillah. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Are you excited for the episode and ready for the questions?
Yes, always ready.
Great. So let's start with the lotus flower. According to your knowledge and experience, what is this flower?
Well, this flower is one of the aquatic plants. They're called aquatic plants that live in water. And this particular flower lives in fresh water, especially slowly moving waters. They are very common in rivers, in wetlands, and these kind of areas. And that's why you find them in Wadi Shab. And if you plant them in a container, you can do that at home. Since you are interested in gardening, you can have a container, you fill it with soil and water, and you plant the seeds. They will grow fine. And this plant is scientifically named Prola nucifera. It's a different family from a confusing other plant. It's called water lilies. These are two different plants. People confuse them. They actually call lotus water lilies, and they call water lilies lotus. These are two separate plants. And you could easily tell the difference because the leaves of lotus and the flowers, they always grow above the water level. But the water lilies, not the lotus, the water lilies always on the surface of the water. They float, both the flowers and also the leaves. They are originally from Indian subcontinent to Sri Lanka, but now they spread all over the place, from Russia all the way to China and also to Australia. Yes, so it's very common.
I have heard before, I don't remember where, that these flowers open early in the morning and close at night. So, do you think that this is true?
But most actually of flowers do that. If you look at hibiscus, for example, hibiscus also opens only during the day and they close at sunset. And so many other plants like carambola, like many others. This is not unusual for plants, especially those are day flowers or basically pollinated by bees or butterflies. They will open during the day, they close at night. But the interesting thing is, their cousin water lilies, the one I told you about, they float. These are doing the opposite. They open at night and they close during the day. They start opening at sunset and then they close at after sunrise, like around 9 a.m. They don't just close, they hide the flower in the water. And then on the next sunset, they will float again, the flowers, and then they open again. So if they are not pollinated. Once they are pollinated, that's it. That's the end of it. But it is true that they open during the daytime and they close at night.
Yes. Well, let's move on the other questions. When did all this start? I mean, when did this flower start growing in Wadi Shab? Did all of this happen recently?
Yes, it's all happened recently. I was there 2019 before COVID, and there was not a single lotus there. I took pictures as always, and this only happened in the last 3 years that this plant spread. And if you're asking about the origin of this plant, it's unknown, but it's very easy to propagate. It's very easy to grow. It can grow from seed because there are different parts that can be grown. It can grow from seed. It can grow from rhizome, which is like a tuber. You know ginger, right? The ginger that we consume fresh is actually a rhizome. That is also the same part that is in lotus, and that can be used. The plant naturally use it for propagation. So it could be that. It could be a seed, somebody throw it in. It could also be, ornamental. The head of lettuce, I don't know if you know the head of lettuce. It's cone-shaped with holes in it. And so sometimes maybe there's a seed inside, and just people discarded the remaining of flower arrangement, and then it grew. So now it's there. But it can also spread if there is water that is shallow. You need about 2 meters, 2.5 meters of water that's slowly moving like wadis. That's it. It will spread. It will grow more.
Do these flowers have positive effect due to their presence in Wadi Shab? Or are they just a beautiful view and nothing more than that? Because we know that some flowers may be used to make certain aromatic substances, or perhaps medical and other substances. So are they useful?
Yes, they are. In their native habitats in India and China, most of Asian countries use them. And all parts of the lotus is useful. Like people consume it for food, like the leaves, younger leaves, the stalk, the stem that holds the leaf above water, that also can be used. It's edible. You can eat it fine. The rhizome I told you about for propagation, it's very nice and delicious. Actually, it can be cooked. It tastes like potato, just like potato. It's very easy to cook and easy to treat. The seeds are also consumed when they are green, because when they are ripe and they are dark, the seed coat is very thick, so it's hard to break. But when they are green, people use them for food. So it's very useful as a food, nutritious plant, but also it can be used for animals as feed. There are so many medicinal properties in it that is extracted by the Chinese especially, and many other chemicals that are useful in industrial application in lotus. So it has a range of applications. Actually, it is so important that the Hinduism call it sacred lotus. So it is sacred for them. It has a religious significance. For the Chinese, it is because of the nutritional value of the lotus. They also praise it for longevity. So it has meanings such as spirituality, longevity in Asian cultures, and all parts are actually useful and usable. In Wadi Shab, of course, because this plant is new to us, we don't have, besides using it, of course, as ornamental, as I told you, you have your own plant as an ornamental. You can also dry it and use it in flower arrangement. But in Wadi Shab, until now, that's the only purpose that is, which is ornamental. So tourists come in boats and just drive around the same area at the beginning there. If you have been to Wadi Shab, they used to be reed only, which is another plant, but now it has the reeds and also the lotus, which makes it more beautiful. Yeah.
In fact, I didn't go to Wadi Shab, but I saw the place and flower through videos and pictures, and I noticed that grow of lotus flower in very large quantities. Could their growth in such large quantities cause environmental problem?
There are two sides to this story. In terms of environmentalism, or as environmentalist, I would not encourage the spread of any invasive species. There are certain plants that are really good. They can be used for ornamentals, but then later on they become problematic when they start to spread widely without control. So in this regard, it is not recommended to spread lotus any further and confine it in Wadi Shab. But also because of the economic value of the plant, like as a tourist attraction, and also it has a huge potential for other uses if we actually develop uses for it, like for food or for feed or for medicinal purposes, then it becomes very useful and controllable. So I suggest that this needs to be studied more. We try to assess the quality of the produce itself as a crop, as a plant to be eaten by people, and then offer it as in that way people harvest it and it will continuously to grow and it becomes under control. But any plant that is invasive, like Brussels Flora or Conocarbis or any of these plants, once they are spreading, then it's very difficult to get rid of them. Barathenium, for example, in Dhofar, you can't control it anymore because it's everywhere. So it becomes challenging to the local species. In the case of Wadi Shab, the challenge is for the aquatic marine life, like small fish and others, because then this lotus will cover the whole area. They will not be able to receive sunlight. They will not receive sunlight. It will be sometimes it deprives them of oxygen from the water, although it is moving water. I'm sure it has some, impact on the local environment, but that needs to be studied to be sure, like there is no harmful effect of the spread of lotus in Wadi Shab.
So, according to your long experience, how can we deal with it? I mean, how can we just protect that area or Wadi Shab for many potential environmental problems?
Well, we need to make plans, first of all, to assess the situation, study it, make sure that this plant does not damage the local environment, whether it is aquatic marine life or terrestrial life, because it is an wadi. So in the wadi, you will have the wadi itself, and on the sides, on the banks of the wadi, there are also other native plants and also some farms that are there. And so we want to see if these plants will compete or cause any damage there in that location. If not, then it's manageable. But I know for lotus, it is also a wetland plant. That means it can survive outside of the confinement of water. It doesn't have to be always in water, because it can move to the farms, it can move to the nearer areas where it can cause some annoyance. I don't think it will cause so much damage because it's not like Joliflora. It's not like that releases allelopathic chemicals. This does not have any allelopathic chemicals, but if the farmers knew how to harvest it and use it, that's also additional benefit to local people in the area. So that management part needs to be studied, explored. Nobody has done that yet. So that's why there's no clear answer on what to do about it. But for now, it is economically useful, confined only to Wadi Shab, only one region actually of Wadi Shab, not the whole thing, not the whole wadi, from the top to the bottom. And it doesn't restrict the flow of water to the sea, and it doesn't cause any harm to the local neighborhood. So we should be okay with that, but it needs to be studied for sure.
Thank you, Dr. Rashid, for this huge amount of information that we didn't know about before.
Listeners, if you have any questions or inquiries regarding the episode, do not hesitate to ask them below. Perhaps you don't know, but Dr. Rashid has a useful Instagram account. We will put a link below the episode so you can see it. Thank you again for your time and listening, and we will see you in the next episode, inshallah. Thank you, Doctor.
Good luck with your project and your work.